Hello everybody, my name is Stephanie Valdez and today I'm going to be paying tribute to my older brother Louis. So Louis is 26 years old and I am 23. We were both born in January, so it's easy to keep track. We're always going to be 3 years apart because we're born in the same month. But the reason why I'm paying tribute to my older brother Louis is because he has always been like my idol in education for as long as I know. He's my older brother, so he naturally was somebody I looked up to, and I'm glad I had him because I could have been unfortunate and had like a bad role model, but I didn't. I had somebody who set an amazing path for me, and I just want to share his story. So growing up, my parents would always buy us these flashcards of countries and states and multiplication tables, addition, like all these education things you can name of. And it was when we were really young. Like I remember being probably like 3, 2, I don't know, but I remember this. And I remember because of that, like that made me really good at multiplication and math and adding and all this stuff. And my brother, he was always drawn to like the states and countries. He was always drawn to that. Like if you ask my brother to name the countries in Africa, he will name it. If you ask him to name, like, I don't know, just ask him any trivia question and I promise you he will name it. He likes to be asked trivia questions for fun. So yeah, he's just always been very smart. He's always been on the dean's list, the principal's list, the honors list, in elementary, middle school, high school, college. I'm talking about everything. He's always been at the top, and he is just incredibly, amazingly smart. But I'd like to say that my brother has always thrived in education for a reason. Like everyone has their story, and I think I know why. I can't speak for himself, but I did have the interview with the questions, and he did mention that he did feel like education was a way to prove himself. And also being the oldest, he didn't have anybody to look up to. He didn't have anybody to set a pathway for him. If anything, he was the one to set a pathway, and I feel like maybe growing up he knew that, and maybe he wanted to set a good example for me, an example that he wished he would have had, and he did that. He set a great example for me, and he's also first generation, so I'm guessing like all that pressure for him being the oldest, setting an example, being first generation was a lot of pressure for him, and it really pushed him to do good in education. And I'd say another huge factor is that he grew up gay, and growing up he had to hide it from my family, or not really he had to, but it was his decision because that's just what made him feel comfortable. He didn't feel comfortable coming out to my parents up until college, so he hid his sexuality for them for quite a while. It wasn't up until college that he told my dad first, and my dad took it okay. My dad's always been such a nice person. Like he can't even yell at anybody if he could. But yeah, like he took it okay. He was very supportive. I'd say like he still is very supportive. So I love my dad for that. My mom, on the other hand, though, we grew up, I like to say, very Mexican, very cultured. So like my brother mentioned in his interview, he mentioned that he felt a lot of pressure to grow up very machista, very manly, like he felt that pressure. Even growing up, my mom would always try to find women for him because he would think, oh look, like you're a girlfriend or all that. So growing up, it was definitely hard for him, and it was, like I said, harder for my mom. When he had told her, she kind of just stayed silent, hugged him, seemed supportive at the moment. But a couple days later, it really crashed on her, and it really affected us in the household. It affected her moods, and you can tell the news really affected her. But we knew that would happen, which is why my brother had even hid his sexuality for so long. But it's been years ever since, and I'd like to say that things did get better, and they did. They did get better. I'd say my mom could definitely be way more accepting, but things are the way they are, and time heals, and I'd like to think that things will get better over time. And apart from that challenge that my brother had dealt with, growing up gay, another challenge that he even spoke about in the interview was college. College is very stressful, and so my brother, congratulations to him, he got his bachelor's degree and his master's degree, and he got these all on time. And that's not like, I'm not saying that getting it not on time isn't a good thing, but I'm just saying it just really sets me an example of my brother really went through so many things, so many obstacles, so many challenges in his life, and he really pushed through. Like, to me, that's just like a really wow factor for me. Like, I really look up to him for that, and he really is very, very strong for all he's done and all he's went through, and just still putting up with all his schoolwork. It really is amazing to me. But yeah, going back to his challenges, he said that one of his big challenges was his undergrad program. Or when he had to do his social work, he had a lot of challenges in that, because he said the material got harder. And another challenge he even dealt with, but a challenge that he's glad he dealt with and that he changed, was that he changed his career path. So he was originally going to study to be a nurse, but then he changed to be a mental health, so he's going to be a social worker. And that is just one of the best decisions he could have ever made, because that really is what he's meant to do. I feel like growing up, he dealt with a lot of mental health battles, and he's now able to help a lot of people similar to him and give them advice and just be there to counsel them. And I think it's an amazing thing for him to do. And I think my brother deserves all this tribute to him, and I really am grateful for him for setting a great path for me. And